Thank you. Do you know, I'm really excited to get you on because when I've been interviewing people that know you, they always have like a smile on their face as if there's like a funny story that they won't speak about. Uh, every time, I mean, I had a call yesterday from Rhyno who wanted me to remind you of a moment where you used to rip him for keeping receipts, and you dropped your wallet at a gas station, and it's because of him keeping receipts you found your wallet.
Yes, that is halfway true. He is, yeah, that is totally true, being honest. Because, like, you know, I don't keep up with the receipts. I just, you know, use the same card, use it for my bank, you know, just to make it simple and easy. He's still old school as hell, man. He's keeping receipts. Every one of them, he goes home, calculates that week, goes back out on the road, collect everything, goes back home, calculates everything. I'm just like, bro, there's an easy system now. You don't have to do that. But thank God he did keep that receipt because it gave us the address. And thank God the people at the gas station were kind, you know, cool and everything. So where they're like, yeah, man, here's your wallet. I even had $200 cash in there, and every bit of it was still there.
All thanks to him, taking the mick out of him, and it actually worked out well. He kept them in his fanny bag.
Yeah. He still has that fanny bag.
Oh, that's brilliant. I wanted to kind of go on a bit of a journey with you today, and I wanted to go back to the very beginning, which is where your love and your passion for wrestling actually came about. Was there something you loved as a kid?
Oh, of course, man. Don't we all? It's one of those things. Of course, it came as a kid, and like I still to this day, man, I blame it on my grandfather. You know, it was him that watched it all the time. It was him that bought me the action figures with him and my mother, and like he would take me to independent shows, and I just sit on his lap, you know, as a kid, just cheering for the good guy, you know, and all that stuff. So I put all the blame on him. It's all his fault. But then, you know, you grow up, and like I played sports my whole life. Baseball, basketball, football, all of that. But then again, I had my little side gig in, like, you know, backyard wrestling, which you shouldn't do at home. It's one of those things where I had a bunch of buddies of mine, and we had a trampoline with mattresses and tires underneath it so it could be solid. Then we would wrestle and have a good time. Like, I don't know. I feel like that loosened me up for going on and trying to actually be a professional wrestler.
And what were you like in school? Were you always someone that liked to play around? Were you the class clown? Because you're quite
100%.
cheeky. Yeah.
Yeah, I was 100% the class clown. You know, I was just, you know, I was always raised to like treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, like, and like, you know how like some in high school, you know, you have your jock clique, you have your cheerleader clique, you have your nerds, you have your, you know, computer buddies, you have your, you know, gothic people, you know, whatever it is. You have like all these different cliques. But like, I feel like I was in the middle to where like I was friends with all of them, man. Like, you know, I was always just, I don't know, nice, friendly, cool. I'm not trying to put myself over or anything, but yeah, I just was always, you know, just cool to everyone. Like, because I mean, you can always, if you sit down and talk with someone, man, you can always find something that's like similar in your life.
Yeah. I was in a nerd group.
Hey, man, I'm a big nerd too, man.
I mean, were you kind of like big at school as well? Did people kind of keep out of your way? They wouldn't try and start a fight with you?
Well, it wasn't that I was like big. I mean, I've always was tall and lean, but everyone knew me being like, you know, like a class clown, funny guy, but a scrapper also because, you know, I mean, I boxed, I played basketball, football, baseball. Like I was in like the sports and stuff, you know, and I wasn't too bad. So it was one of those things where like, I mean, in high school and stuff, people knew who I was, but like, I don't feel like they ever stayed out of my way because I was a class clown, you know. I just always picked on people, played around, played jokes, you know, just being, you know, just making people smile, I guess you could say.
So where did your love for sports come from? Because you mentioned your granddad. So growing up, were your parents sporty? You know, did you grow up with your granddad?
Yeah, like my dad wasn't even in my life pretty much, you know, like ever since like I was 2, like never like nothing, you know. So my grandfather was that fatherly role, you know, But like my mother, you know, she always got me into sports, you know, because she was friends with all my friends' parents, you know, and everything, to where like I was playing baseball, I was in basketball. But then again, I was a little hellion as a kid, man. Like I was a little mean ass. So I had to stay active, you know. So I think that's what my mom did. Yeah, put him in football, get some of that energy out. Put him in basketball, you know, whatever it is. Keep him out of the house for a little bit.
And obviously, you were talking a little bit before about your love and passion for wrestling. So when it came to actually training, I wanted to go to where you started training, but then WWE came to contact you to work for them. How did that actually all come about for you?
Well, I was actually playing college basketball, you know, for a JUCO school called Potomac State. And then me being young, dumb, and stupid, I lost my scholarship type deal. So had to go back home, tell my mom and everything. And she, you know, of course, shook her head and like, what the hell? And then I told her, I was like, you know, I want to go down to Georgia and try to wrestle. And because I had two of my buddies that was backyarding with me back in the day in high school, you know, in junior high, that were down in Georgia training to wrestle. So I told her that, and she looked at me like, damn it, get out of my face right now. I'm going to talk to you later, you know? And then I remember going to my grandfather's house, and I was going to have dinner with him and my mama. And next thing you know, man, we sat down. I told him about it. He shook his head about college and ball. And then I told him I was wanting to wrestle. And, like, he literally just remember lifting his head up being like, what, really? Like, you want to do that? And I'm like, yes, I think I can do it. I think I can be good at it. And he's like, I'll back you up on that. I was like, well, you don't have to talk to my mom, you know? Like, she doesn't want really – she's like – she got behind me whenever my grandfather talked to her, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at first – my little one just came and blew me a kiss. So she, my mom was all, you know, just all butthurt about college. Like, oh my goodness, what the hell, you know? But my grandfather saw another light, I guess. Like, oh yeah, let him try wrestling. It'd be great. You know, I'll help him out, you know, with some money and stuff. So once my grandfather talked to my mom was on my side, you know, like that type deal. At first, no way in hell she was. But after my papa talked to her, like, they both were on my side. And then that's when I went to Georgia, man. Went to Georgia, started training. I was on the indies for like a year and a half, like just busting my ass, man, trying to get the biggest promotions in Georgia. And then that's when Deep South came about. And I was going up to Deep South here and there because my buddy Crew Jones, that lives in Georgia still, got me in there with him. And next thing you know, the rest is history, man. Like, indies for a year and a half, working the Deep South for probably about 4 months, and then I got signed. So it was one of those things where, like, I never got to go overseas and wrestle. I never went to Japan. I never went to, like, any other daggone promotion ever. Like, nowhere. Like, I wrestled in Georgia for, you know, a year and a half and got signed.
Joe, it's pretty cool the way you talk about your grandfather. That's really nice, because most people, if you say, look, I want to be a professional wrestler, they'll try and make you be a doctor, a policeman, you know, it's just kind
anything else.
Yeah. So that's really supportive that you had someone that kind of encouraged you to live your dream and not make it, because most people say, oh, it's not realistic, it won't happen. So to have someone like that must have been the mentor that you needed. You
know what's crazy is that, like, every time I talk about this dude, I tear up, is that he was there for me, like, through thick and thin. Thick and thin. I mean, being that grandpa that showed pictures of me with the long hair, shaking my hips with the title on it, you know? That's my grandson. But in 2010, whenever we got called up for Nexus to be on television, like 3 months before we did, or maybe 4 or 5 months before we did, he passed away. So he never got to see me on television or see me, you know, achieve that goal, you know. But it's crazy because, like, I was going through some like rough patches, and he passed, and then those rough patches became smooth, you know, like it just became like smooth sailing after that. Like, he went up there to, like, God had been like, hey man, listen up, this kid bust his butt, like, he might need some help, you know, like, unlock some of those doors for him type deal. But I don't know, but it was just crazy how it happened.
And I think
like,
when you're that
already
close,
an angel or something.
I say, when you're that close to someone, like you were describing there, you have that connection that no one can ever understand. And it's probably, it's like when you're doing your stuff, you'll feel his presence. And that's kind of nice because I guess every time you performed, you're performing for him.
Oh, yeah. It definitely is. It's definitely something like that, yeah.
What I wanted to talk about was, of course, Nexus, because it was so different, real different. I mean, your debut was just, as a fan, you're watching it, you're thinking, what? Okay, is this WWE? What's going on? It just went nuts. You came out, you destroyed the ring, you beat up everybody that was in your path. So first of all, when they came to you with the idea of the group and how the debut was going to be, what were your initial reactions? Did you like the people you were going to be teamed with?
Well, I mean, those guys that I was teamed with in Nexus, man, I was in developmental with them for years. I mean, years. Like, I mean, those guys were like my buddies, to where we all get put in this, NXT, to where it was this game show type thing that we all were just kind of miserable and just like, what the hell is going on? But then the outcome of it, I mean, Vince is a genius, man, when it comes to stuff like that for some reason. Like, he just has an idea, he pushes for it, and it works. But it was one of those things where we all got eliminated but Wade. And then next thing you know, we all go to Miami that night, and we all have to have a meeting with Vince. And we're all like, man, we getting fired. Like, what's going to happen? Like, we don't know what's going on. And then they tell us about Nexus, hands the armbands out, and all that stuff, to where we're just like, whoa. And then he just literally tells us to pretty much destroy everything and anything in sight. And we were like, okay, all right, let's do this. But yeah, it was one of those, it was just so different, so chaotic. I mean, look at the audience. The audience were crying. They were like mesmerized. I mean, I got hit in the back with like sodas, so it's like we did our job. We did it well. It was just one of those moments in history. I mean, it's been a decade, 11 years maybe now, and people still talk about it. And how in the world WWE didn't, like, and 5 years later do something with this all again, like, blows my mind still.
Was there a moment, because you all kind of went for it big time, did you go backstage and people were like, what the hell was that about? You did it a little bit too much. Did you go a little bit too far with it? Did they tell you off?
I don't think all of us went a little too far, but I mean, there's a couple. I mean, DB, man, he got released for it, choking Justin Roberts out. Like, that happened. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so he got released for that, type deal. So it was one of those things where, like, it was crazy. It was nuts. I mean, we did what we were told, but, I mean, we just wanted to make an impact. And like I said, a decade later, we're still talking about this shit. Yeah. So
it proves the point. You've done it. And obviously, another person that was instrumental for that, in regards to the success, I would say, is John Cena. And working with John Cena. So what was he like to work with? Because for you at the time, he was one of the biggest stars, and you would have watched him on TV. So what was it like to actually be involved with him in that story?
I mean, John is a good dude. He's a great guy. And, like, whenever, I mean, he was, the golden boy. Whatever he wanted, it happened. So, but, I mean, it was easy working with him, fun working with him. Got your face out there. I mean, he's easy to work with. I mean, he's smooth in the ring, too. So it's one of those things to where it was amazing getting in the top spot with all of us and making that impact, and and then working every guy, the top 10 at the time, just every week. So it was great. It was one of those things that every rookie, if they're ready, they're looking for that spot.
Yeah.
But we were like 8 rookies, 7 actually, but they got that spot, man. And, I feel like it could have lasted longer. And I mean, every one of us has said this, SummerSlam should never happen. We shouldn't have lost. We should have won. And then a mega group at Mania destroys us, whatever. But it was one of those things where, like, we had the people, they were invested, they loved it, and we just needed that one little bit, that one more link to lock the deal. Yeah. And it was to take over SummerSlam, man. But, it never happened. And I mean, of course, we can talk about it and say, oh, this should have happened, that should have happened. The people know. It's been a decade. They damn know.
At the time, did you go to anyone and say, look, why are you doing this? Could you have the ability to speak out and give your opinions? Or was it kind of one of those things where it's just best to kind of keep quiet?
It was a little bit of both, being honest, because when we got there, we were going over. Halfway through, we're not going over. So, you know, we ask questions. You don't really get answers. This is what it is. Make it good.
Not the best thing to tell you, is it?
Huh?
Not the best thing to tell you, is it? You kind of, it'd be good if you could have more of an input, because a lot of you guys are really creative. And I've been talking to a lot of people over the last 2 weeks, and it's just incredible to see how creative and into what you do. And I guess if you have a chance to actually speak up and say, look, this would have worked better, that would have been better, things could have been different.
If that would happen today,
yeah,
Nexus is back together destroying WWE right now. You know, we're grown men now. We're not little boys. We're here to whoop some ass type shit, you know? Excuse my language. But it's one of those things where it's like, if we went in today, one, it'd be believable as hell. Two, we're grown, we're seasoned, we're wiser. It could work and be good even today in any company, because pretty much the original's already gone. So it can work. It's a fact. But it's one of those things to where, like, I don't know, like, we were younger then. We didn't really have the balls to say a lot, you know. We were happy to be in that spot. But now, if it would happen, I wouldn't have no problem just knocking on the door and being like, hey, come on, man, think about this shit. Like, think, this ain't going to work, you know it. Give it 3 more months, and then y'all can have it. Like, I would, like, and I think all the other guys would too. But when you're 25 years old in the biggest spot of your life, it's like, shoot, let's just go and do it. Get it done, you know, make it good as we can. Hopefully there'll be something on Raw that's going to be good. But, you know, it's like once, like I said with Bully Ray and everything, it was like we went from 4th gear to 2nd and never got it back.
You know, I've got to say, looking back, I was watching some videos earlier of the early days for you, and looking at you now to then, the transformation is incredible. Like, the hair is really sharp. You just look completely different. I mean, do you look back at kind of pictures of back then and kind of be like, what was I doing? Or did you miss the hair?
It's one of those things. I mean, I've got this question, so I think everyone else misses the hair is what it is, just because I had it for so long. I mean, I look like, you know, Rhyno from the Thundercats or something, you know, like with it all long and red, which it does stand out like a sore thumb. I mean, hell, I don't know. I might grow it back out. Who knows? I don't know. But I just know that wrestling with that is like, you know, you get in a hold and then you suck hair in the back of your throat and you have to throw up on camera. Like, that stuff sucks, you know? And then, like, with me, like, I always wear mine in a ponytail, but then it's like, you want it to look nice, not with a big kink in it. So I'm in the dressing room, hot, or what is it called? Like, the little hot iron thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I forget the name of it. You know, trying to straighten it out. Straightener, there we go. Straighten it out and everything. But yeah, man, it's like, don't get me wrong. It brought eyes and it does get attention. There's just a lot to keep up to that stuff. I don't really want to keep up with it.
It looks fresh now. I like it. Another thing that I remember as a fan that I loved was your match against Chris Jericho in NXT, because it was when you were starting and he comes out, and Chris Jericho is he is a genius. I think he is. He's an absolute genius. And he comes out there and you two just work so well together. And then obviously getting the win for us as fans kind of really put you on the map. So when they told you that you were actually going to beat Chris Jericho, was it one of those kind of pinch yourself moments? Like, holy shit, I'm about to beat Jericho.
I just know for a fact that back then it was one of those things, because, I mean, you're so caught up because, like, with the schedule, it's like just go. You know, like live events and, you know, TVs and getting home for a day and a half and then flying right back out and this and that. So it's one of those things, like, when it happens, you roll with it very quickly. Like, oh, what? I'll be at Jericho? Hell yeah. What? Really? You know, like, and then next thing you know, you're doing something else, and you can't really absorb it. But I do know that Chris didn't like it that I was beating him, and he had to go to Pat Patterson, and he was like complaining to Pat, being like, "Why in the world is this rookie gonna beat me? I can't believe this." Blah 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 blah. And then Pat Patterson looks at him and is like, he's a rookie. No one will remember it next week. To which that very well might be true. But then again, I look at it and I'm like, 10 years later, people still talk about that match too. So, yeah, it was one of those things like, yes, it was awesome for me. I know Chris probably didn't like it, but, you know, I'm still 2-1 on him, man. I still got one up on him.
Do you know, I was going to talk, because normally when I interview people, especially wrestlers, they might have been in a faction in their time, but I've got pages of the factions that you've been in, so it's kind of...
Brother, if there was a faction world title, I would be, 10 times champion right now.
Is that, on a kind of a serious note, is that annoying for you? Because I guess for someone who's really good and got so much to give, to constantly, right, you're working with these and you're cool with this, and oh, you're in this faction next week. Are you just kind of like, dude, give me a break, let me go on my own?
Brother, the story of my life, man. Story of my damn life. I mean, you can ask anyone this. Like, everyone talks about me and Gallows being like the guys that's been in every faction you can think of. I just don't know if, like, the puzzle piece to that faction always suits me or something, but it's always like, oh, it's missing something. Put Slater in it. Oh, this is missing something. Put Slater in there, he's like a chameleon. He can adapt to anything. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like, my goodness, I've been in so many. And all I've wanted was to die on my own sword. So it's like, I can't catch a break with that, bro. And the only time in WWE that I was legit singles competitor was like when I worked the Legends through that little stint. And then when I did the free agent thing for, I don't know, 2 months. And then me and Rhyno got tagged up. But it's like, shit. Let me go. Let me do some things here. But I don't know, man. That's just the cards I was dealt. That's 100% the cards that I was dealt. It was either you're mad, leave, go with this, this, and this. So I would have to go with this, and that. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I really don't. I wished I had an answer for you. But for some reason, I don't know if I just mesh well in these spots. I don't know. Maybe I'm a multitasker. Maybe I got a skill of many talents. I don't know what it is. I just know for some reason I get stuck in those spots and I make the best of them.
And well, the one that kind of surprised me was when you were teamed with Drew and Jinder, because it just kind of was like, oh, okay, they've put this, in front of us now. How did that come about? Did you guys have a good chemistry and they were like, right, there we go, there's another faction? How did it come about?
Dude, honestly, in a real note, we're all good buddies.
Yeah.
I love them to death. Like, we are friends, not on camera, but outside of camera, people wouldn't know. We're buddies. But it was one of those things to where, like, I was doing the one-man band, or the one-man rock band, one-man southern rock band. I don't know how many it was in that time period. But then it was like, I literally was like, man, this one-man band role is old now. Like, we have to renew it or something, or give me a band. I need a band. And Michael Hayes was like, yeah, I like that. You need a band. Hell yeah. Who do you think? So my idea, Johnny Curtis, who's at Fandango, Ambrose, Moxley now, and Hutter, or EC3. So those were my pick. I'm like, I want those guys to be in my band. Like, I love them. They got damn good chemistry. They're awesome in the ring. Like, I want that. So Michael Hayes was like, man, yeah, that's a good pick. Next week. Well, we got plans for Ambrose. We got plans for Fandango, which was Johnny Curtis at the time, and no on Hutter. And I'm like, well, what then? He's like, don't worry, you're gonna have a band though. I'm like, okay. Following week on Raw, I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to get a band tonight, guys. Hell yeah. In the locker room, bullshitting. Oh, I'm getting a band. Hell yeah. And they say, I walk in the office and they're like, yeah, you got a band. I'm like, yeah, who is it? Jinder and Drew McIntyre. And I was like, what? Huh? Like, really? Like, are you kidding me? And I tell it all the time. I'm like, it sounds like a joke. Like a redneck, an Indian, and a Scotsman walk into a bar. And, you know, it's like a joke to me. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like at first, Jinder, I knew, like, Jinder's one of those guys that, like, he'll roll with the punches. Like, all right, we can do this. Drew, on the other hand, he can be a loose cannon sometimes, man. To where you're just like, oh, man, I don't want to be around him when they tell him this. But it was one of those things where, like, he ate it. He was like, oh, I don't want to, do this. But then he thought about it. He was like, well, there's only two things I ever wanted to be in life: professional wrestler and a rock star. So I guess we're going to be both. So, I mean, we went with it, man. We went with it. And, I mean, the good thing about it is that we all get along together. So it made that, that little bit easier. But, yeah, man. And next thing you know, y'all got 2 years of some entertainment.
Well, and the thing is, after that, they were actually released, which is kind of, it was unexpected. So for you to work so closely with them and kind of see your mates get released, was that difficult for you to experience?
Of course it was, man. I remember Drew calling me, telling me about it, and I'm just like, well, it's going to be my time. Jinder calls me, telling me about it. I'm like, well, that seals the deal. I waited for like 2 hours, and I never got a phone call. So I'm the one that called Rhyno myself. And I was like, hey, man, like, did you forget to call me? Are you going to call me later, tomorrow? What's going on? And he literally said that I was safe. And I'm just like, what? Like, I'm just confused, like being in this 3-man band group for 2 years, you get kind of used to a routine. The next thing you know is just stripped away from you, and you're by yourself, and you're just, you're out there alone. And, so I had to try to adapt, and then from there, back into another faction tag team, So it's like, goodness, man. I don't know.
I've got to say, from someone that's a fan of, watching you and everything, you've got this incredible way of connecting to an audience. It's just, I don't know if it's you as a person and your personality, but everything you do, I think whether you're a heel or a face, the audience just really buy into you. You've got a skill of just getting us connected, which must be good for you to kind of get, fans to really support you.
Yeah. I want to say it's because, like, a lot of people, like, I've met, outside of wrestling, and like I told you before, I just treat people the way I like to be treated. They come up, want to pick, hell yeah, man, let's take a pick.
Yeah.
They want to, just shake my hand, an autograph, whatever. Like, yeah, here you go. It's just one of those things where, like, I feel like what you give is what you get back, and I don't feel like people hate me, cause like most of the messages I get is like, hey man, we love to hate you. Like, we love to boo you. Like, we like you're a bad guy, like that type thing. Like, it's never been like, I mean, there's been a couple back in the day where it's been like, hey man, a little too far. You don't need to be saying stuff about my mama, like, come on. But no, I feel like the people, like, enjoy liking me or enjoy hating me. But it's one of those things. It's like with WWE, I've always been in this role, like a role of being somebody. And, like Nexus was Rebels. Core was a watered down Rebel. Then I was a rock star for a while. And then I was in a band. And then I was a free agent. And then I had 20-some kids living in a trailer park. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I always had these roles to where now, like, I can be myself. Yeah. I can go out and wear what I want, do what I want, have music the way I want it, and I mean, it might be, fantastic, or it might be a damn disaster, bro. I don't know. It's going to be one or the other. So it's just one of those things. Like, now I'm just glad that I can, like, go out and be me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Do you know, when you look at the people that have left and how happy they are, and they get to, a lot of times, I mean, Drew is a perfect example. He leaves and then kind of rebuilds himself, repackages, and then bang, you've got this product that you don't need to change. You don't need to mold them into anything.
Yeah.
And that could happen for you because you've been there for so long. And so actually have a chance now to be creative and show everyone again who the real Heath is, not the Heath that's told to go out there and do this, to actually be you. and that must be an exciting kind of thought for you.
Brother, there ain't no ceiling. There's no ceiling. Like, all I see is the universe up there. So I'm just gonna go and swim around it a little bit, see what I can do, see what comes up, see what opportunities approach me and everything, man. It's just I just want to make sure everyone knows it's like wherever I land, I'm just gonna give it my all and make the company better than whatever it was. It's just one of those things where, like, I'm one of those company guys, and if I'm working for you, I'm gonna give you my all. So be ready for that. You're either gonna like it or you're not.
I think we're definitely gonna like it. You mentioned a little bit earlier about the Legends storyline. Now,
Yeah.
I love nostalgia. I literally lose my shit when someone comes out at the Royal Rumble. I'm like, oh, Kevin Nash is back. That must have been such a crazy moment to work with the people like Sergeant Slaughter, Vader, Sid, Road Warrior Animal. They were all coming out, and you were having to do segments with them. When they came to you with that, was it like a bit of a fanboy moment?
Brother, it was 100% fanboy moment. Dude, I got pictures. I've got pictures of me as like a little Stinger with his face painted and everything.
Wow.
With Vader walking down the ramp with that big mastodon thing he used to have on. It blows smoke out. I'm just sitting at the guardrail with my chin on it. I'm that little, just like, oh, whoa. And there he is walking by, like, and Sid too. Like, I got a picture of Sid having his head outside the curtain watching the match. And I'm sitting there trying to talk to him. My mom snapped a picture of it. Like, little pictures like that to where it's like, wow, I was that kid intimidating as hell to those guys. Like, so intimidated. And then I'm in the ring with them about to work them, So it's like, it was one of those dreams come true, but it didn't work out like people think. They're like, oh, they just put Slater in the match with all of them. Bro, I got to Raw. I looked at the thing. It said Heath versus Big Van Vader. I was like, this got to be a damn joke. Like, come on now. I go in there. I talk to Rhyno. Rhyno was like, yeah, man, you're working Vader tonight. We're doing this whole thing. We're bringing in a legend each week leading up to Raw 1000. And I was like, dang, all right, cool. And then I didn't think about it like who would be next or something, or if I would be that guy. I just knew I was in that spot at that time. And I remember going to Mike Rotundo, and he had my match with Vader. And Vader, and we were all talking. I looked at Mike. I said, who's coming in next? He was like, I don't know. But, they're going to split it up with people working them and stuff. And I'm just like, hell no, man. Like, I want to do this. I want this to be my spot. Like, yeah. And, like Randy Orton's always was the legend killer. I said, shoot, I'll be the legend builder. Bring him in, have him destroy me. I don't care. Let me work him, I want to work him. And then after my match with Vader, I remember coming through the curtain, going up to Vince and being like, this is my spot. Like, I want to do this. Like, let me do this. No one else. Have me come out, say legends, go away, y'all's old, whatever, and then have them just destroy me, and get them to get their shit in and get over. And Vince was like, yeah, talk to Ed about it, this and that. So I go talk to the writer, and then it was just done. It was just Slater every week, minute promo, get it over, get destroyed. But then again, that was honestly the times where I didn't mind to get destroyed.
Yeah, because it's done by legends. And the thing is,
that's a good moment.
I lost my head when the APA came out. You had Lita and then the APA, and it's just like, it's one of those moments. And then obviously when it all came to a head and they all came out, Rikishi was there, Roddy Piper. It just was one of those moments where you're like, he's so lucky. He's in a ring working with people that are just Hall of Famers, legends.
Yeah.
Were there times where any of them, they say don't meet your heroes sometimes.
Yeah.
Were there times where you met someone like, he's a bit of a douchebag, or were they all just really nice?
They were all nice to me, man.
Cool.
They honestly were all genuine, nice dudes. I remember Vader and Sid both was like, saying like, yeah, I'm known to forget things out there, so just keep me on track. And stuff like that. But then I'm sitting here saying, man, I'm the one that forgets stuff, and the other guy's got to keep me on track. So it's like, oh no. But no, man, they all were nice. They all were like, genuinely happy to be back, and working and just being out in front of, the WWE universe. Like, it was one of those, like, it was a feel-good moment all around. Like, yeah, I got my ass whipped, but I lived a childhood dream of guys that I never thought in my life I would get in the ring with, to where it was just one of those things where, like, I know a lot of the other boys were jealous.
Do you know, it's because you just said that you like fanboy and you used to love them when you were a kid.
Ooh,
Could you when you met Vader and Sid, were you like, I had a picture with you, I took a picture when your head was out the curtain, or did you have to just be
no,
really cool and play it
not
down?
of course. You can't show your cards, man. Of course, I
Brilliant.
played it down. It was all business, you know. And it's still one of those things where, like, Zach, right, as well, you know, Matt now, whatever he's going by, we still talk, and they know that I was a huge Sting fan, or as they like to say, Stank. But I still never got a picture with him. I've met him 10 times now, shook his hand, had conversation with him, still never asked him for a picture, you know. But it's still one of those things now. I'm like, damn, I should ask Sting for a picture, you know.
You'd have to do it at the Comic Cons.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I ain't gonna have no shame now. I'm just gonna walk up, be like, "You were my favorite. Please take a picture."
Now, I want to talk about you working with Rhyno. So
Yeah.
I've got to just say, right, I've interviewed Rhyno a couple of times, and he's got to be the nicest, genuine guy I've ever met. But the first time I met him, it was me and my mate, and we had to go and interview him in person in the UK. And he pranked us. So we walked in there, and I went, "Hi, how you doing?" He went, "All right." And I thought, "Oh, I pissed Rhyno off somehow." And he sat down, he went, "Is this going to take long?" And he looked real pissed with us. And then halfway through the interview, he goes, "Just pulling your leg. It gets everyone comfortable." I was there shaking my hand. I'm not comfortable right now.
Dude, he is the most nicest, genuine dude in the world, but he likes to play pranks on people that he don't know yet. Like that's a fact. Like he does it in restaurants, you know, with the waitresses and stuff and the waiters. Just, you know, he just likes a good little laugh, you know. And I mean, hell, he's as big as a refrigerator. So he can be a little intimidating. But no, I could totally see him doing that to you. And I guarantee you, he woke up that morning, had one of his protein cookies that he always eats, you know, and probably started thinking about how he would do that to you. That was on his mind that whole day, I guarantee it.
Oh, it was crazy. And I left that room. I took my shirt off, and I was like dripping. I was just like shaking. I nearly had a heart attack. I thought, right, that wasn't one of my best ones. But he's
did
one
you tell him that?
I told him, I interviewed him last week, and I confessed to him, and he goes, "Oh, it makes interviewers really comfortable." And I said, "No, it really doesn't. Just trust me, I've been there. It doesn't make anyone comfortable."
Right.
But yeah, it's you two really work together. And the thing is, when I found when you worked with Rhyno, you were like a different Heath Slater. You were very comfortable, and just everything about you in the ring, you just felt different. So what was it with working with Rhyno that made you feel kind of so happy? Because you just connected so well.
I think it's one of those things when you get to know your partner personally, you know, like to the point to where, I mean, you travel with him. We were stuck together for 3 years. You know, I mean, there was times where I guarantee you he wanted to rip my head off, and there was times I wanted to rip his head off. But like we meshed like very well together. You know, like he knew that I would be the charismatic, fun one, can get his ass kicked well, but have sympathy. And then he's just a Rhyno that gets tagged in and just destroys everything. You know, so it's like we meshed very well together, and just knowing Terry as a person and traveling with him and just getting to know him, like who the real person is and not the Rhyno character, I just feel like you do mesh well better in the ring, knowing each other like as a whole, and there's nothing, you know, you need to hide or anything. I mean, Terry, he's my brother, man. I love him. Like one time we had a show here in Charlotte, and I had me, him, and Connor from Ascension stay all night with me. Next thing you know, my girl has school. She has school lunch. Me, Rhyno, and Connor from Ascension walks in, and they have this big stage to where you can have lunch with, and they have like tables for the kids to have lunch. So she got to be on the big stage, and we were the 3 guests of hers to come in and eat lunch. And these kids are just like, what in the world? What's going on? You know, some of us wrestling fans, so we're like, you know, taking pictures and being cool with them, everything. And she was like the cool girl for the day and all that stuff. So it's one of those things like him doing that for me to help me and my little girl out just to have a good time. Like that shows you how big his heart is.
Yeah.
You know, it was just one of those, like, I love him to death. I have nothing bad to say about him, you know.
Connor's the same. We had Connor on the show a couple of days ago, and I couldn't believe how white his teeth are. I mean, he
Bro,
smiled.
yeah.
I was like, whoa.
He brushes them 8 times a day. I made that up. He probably, I don't know, but he does have some white teeth, man.
Now, for someone, you worked so hard over the years in WWE to really give us something different from a fan's perspective. You were chucked into every group going, and in the last kind of year of your contract, they didn't know what to do with you. They could have done so much more. It's like they just lost direction. So for someone, who works hard and really loves the business, to just feel like they're sitting on the sidelines, what was going through your mind? Did you get frustrated? Did you tell people backstage, look, what's happening? Why aren't we doing anything with me?
It's one of those things to where I look at it this way, like you can fight and 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 fight for a spot, a storyline, something. And then when you hear no so many times, you start getting, burnt out.
Yeah.
And everyone always, every interview I've done, they're like, oh, you were burnt out. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you do this? Why did you do that? One, I didn't leave because, damn it, I love wrestling. Yeah. And I'm not a quitter. That's why I didn't leave. 2, I got a family that I got to support and feed and make sure they're okay. So, sometimes, you eat shit sandwiches and stay alive and everything. But it's one of those things, what makes me mad is that, like, I was burnt out a little bit. Like, I was totally burnt out. The flame wasn't there because, and then again, like, WWE has so many talented performers, man. Like, I mean, so many talented performers to where it's hard to even get in there because it's just so much, So, it's like towards the end, it's like maybe they didn't have no idea about me, Maybe they thought, well, hell, he's been here for 14 years, so we might want to let him go or something. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know the case, but I do know that, being burnt out, not really giving it your all. I mean, I know for a fact my family knew, my friends knew, my coworkers, that I let in knows. It's just one of those things to where, like, I did it to myself, And then with this whole pandemic and everything, it's like it doesn't make it, any easier to, have to cut people and everything just because it's a crazy time right now. But I kind of feel like I needed it because I wasn't motivated. That fire wasn't burning as bright and as hard as it should have been. So now I feel like me getting slapped in the face with reality and it being like, hey man, you're gone July 18th, that's damn 3 days after my birthday. I'm ready to
happy birthday.
So it's one of those things where like it's like I'm motivated again. And I can honestly say, man, I haven't been motivated in a while. And that's a fact. Like I'm glad that the fire, I turned it a little bit and you see that flame again, I'm glad I feel motivated to get back in shape, get, a new look, a new song, a new everything, It's like I'm ready to show everyone what I really have and not what I'm told to let you know I have.
And it's not whether I've interviewed a pop star or an actor or different times over the last month. Every time I've spoke to people and they've either been in a group or a wrestler who've left a big company, as soon as you get that chance to show that creative side of you and just have 100% input in what's happening, like you said, the song, the look, when you get the feel about it, you then have the passion that comes with it because you've created that. And then the two together just explodes. And I know for a fact you're going to be someone that's going to go off and really smash it. And I think from a fan's point of view, I'm excited to see what's going to be next for you. And you only have to see all the tweets you get and the messages that, you're going to have a lot of support from people that really want to see this journey and go on it with you.
Yeah, dude, thank you, man. Thanks for sharing that too, because I've been getting a lot of positive responses, and of course it feels good and everything, and it's just one of those things to where I'm glad the people are believing me. and not saying, oh, he's just saying this shit, and all that crap. But it's one of those things where, like, I'm glad they're believing me because I am serious. Like, I'm 36 years old, man. Like, I'm not even that old in this business type deal, but I'm just, I started young. I was seasoned very well by so many different talents, and trainers through the years, to where now I feel like I'm one of those, seasoned young vets, that can go out there and, really hammer down and sink my teeth into something now.
And you can tell it just talking to you as well. Passion always comes from people. And that's why I think everyone believes you, because just talking to you and hearing interviews that you do, it comes out. And I'm excited to see what's next. And recently, I know everyone probably asks you, oh, are you going to go to AEW? Because people just assume now someone leaves WWE, they're going over to AEW. And there was comments that Cody made, which I think the media typically took the wrong way, because I think it was said as a joke. And then the next thing, the headlines, Cody Rhodes says he will never have Heath Slater. Heath Slater's got beef with AEW. What's the story there for you? Because I know it was said as a joke, wasn't it?
I don't know what it was said like, because it was said, and then 2 days later, one of my buddies like texted. When I get on social media, man, I'll get on there for a day, and I'll just go at it, and everything. And then I won't look at it for like a couple of days or something, just because of everything else. But my buddy sent me a message, and it said, AEW says no to Heath Slater. And I just was like, why the hell would they even just say that? So I clicked the link, and it was like, I guess Cody did some little Q&A type thing, and, put over Zach and put me down or whatnot. But it was just one of those things where I'm just like, well, either he said it because he meant it, or he said it because he wanted a reaction. And I'm sorry, but if you want to put my name out your mouth, I'm going to talk back, So that's why I said what I said. And then, of course, Cody went back and, saying that he said it, just as a joke and this and that, which he totally could, Cody loves doing Cody, If you don't know Cody, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But, man, he's a good storyteller. Let's say that. But it's one of those things where, like, I know for me personally, like AEW, I'm so glad it's out there. Every wrestler in the world is glad that it's out there, because it's, another platform where you can showcase yourself. They got TV deal, they got all that stuff, which is amazing. Like, that's good for every wrestler across the board. But it's one of those things where, like, I got a bucket list, like, so if my days are up, if AEW offers me something, of course I'll look at it. ROH, New Japan, TNA, whatever, of course I'll look at it. But I've got a bucket list of things that I want to do, just because I never had the opportunity to do it. So now it's like, I'm 36, I've got some good years in me. I want to go and have some fun. And, like, I got goals that I want to do, So I'm just going to take it, day by day, and every opportunity that comes my way, man, I'm just going to knock it out of the park.
And another person like Matt Hardy, he was huge. He came back at WrestleMania, and then another character that just they just pressed him down, and he's gone to AEW, been there a few weeks, and the Matt Hardy that we all knew and loved is coming back. So that's something that you'll get to do at your next kind of project.
Man, I hope so.
One thing, it's a random question. Do like as a kid or like a fan of wrestling, you always have a favorite theme tune? Like mine was Shawn Michaels. Did you used to have a theme tune that was your kind of jam that you used to like listening to?
Man, I want to say I had a few, being honest. I absolutely loved Demolition's theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Demolition. Yeah. I love the Midnight Express, their theme music. Lex Luger had this theme song back in like 1989, maybe 88. And then as soon as he was out of like the NWA, WCW, and it transformed to WCW, the music changed. But Luger had some badass music back in the day, man, to where I still sometimes just want to listen to it and act like I'm tough. But but yeah, Demolition, Midnight Express, Luger's 88 to 90 music. In WWE, the Wolfpack music. I love the Wolfpack music.
Oh yeah,
in WWE, like a song that would get me pumped up would be like, Ultimate Warrior. That would really get – Michael Hayes and, Bad Streak. That's a good song too. Man, like I said, I can just name them off. Like there's so many that I could start from when I was a kid listening to now. But yeah, there's some good songs out there in the wrestling business that you could actually listen to and not feel weird.
I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes with wrestling songs, it makes you feel a certain way. And I've been in the supermarket and I'm, buying my steaks and there's an old lady there and I don't think of it and I got Stone Cold in my hand. I'm like, shut your mouth. And she's got, I'm like, oh, no, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean that. And then security have to take me out because it makes you feel like you're this punk that can smash anything. And yeah.
Please tell me that you never did that.
Sometimes.
Listen up, Grandma. Do your mistakes.
It happens.
Kick her in the belly and stun her.
The worst thing's when Carlito's in my ear and I've got an apple. It's not good.
Oh, man. I'm going to make sure I talk to you without headphones.
For you, was there a title that you never got to win, but you wanted to? So what was that, like a championship belt that you would have loved to have won in WWE?
Brother, I never won any title besides a tag.
Yeah.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I always wanted to be a tag champion. That was a fact. Never thought I'd be a 4-time tag champion. Like I wanted to get it and move on. But bro,
you're in enough groups.
Huh?
You're in enough groups to get the opportunity.
That's a fact. That's a proven fact. But no, the Intercontinental title, man. That's the only title I've ever wanted. The only title out of, like, even when I was a kid growing up, like my mom would have like the foam world title with the foam Intercontinental. I'll be wanting the Intercontinental, just like in WCW, they had the world title and they had the U.S. title. I wanted that U.S. title because I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it was just the timing and the era or whatever it was, but whoever got the U.S. or the IC title always was next in line to go for that world title. Like all the greats held that title. All the guys that can actually work, tell stories, and that were, just good, held that title and everything. So I don't know if that's one reason. Maybe that's the reason I didn't hold it, because I'm not that good. I don't know. But love you. My girl blew me another kiss. They're missing me, man.
It's so nice to see. You're such a family man, and it's just, I've noticed whether we're watching interviews with you lately and stuff you put on socials, you just come across as such a fun dad. And I know you mentioned earlier that your father was actually absent. So does that give you a drive and desire to, like, do you think, right, I'm going to make sure that they get everything I didn't get from a father, if that makes sense?
I would totally say yeah. Because, I mean, just growing up, knowing one day I wanted kids, I always want to be better than my dad was. Yeah. I don't know. It's a little thing. I guess, I guess anyone else out there that didn't have both parents would possibly say the same. I wished I had a mom. I wished I had a dad. But my grandfather and my stepfather, man, they've been wonderful. So it's just one of those things where, like, I had good subs, I guess you could say, that turned into actual heart-filling, good father figures in my life.
And what's been nice in this interview was to hear you talk about your grandfather. And I think a lot of people, if you don't have a father, because normally you associate having a father with going to sports together and you have that bond. And I think most people could leave that get to them and life could be different. And you've just used that as fuel to move forward. And you've made so many achievements in your life and it's still going. And, the fact you've got a beautiful family that make you so happy and you can see that and you're full of passion. I think it's a credit that you've, turned into the man that you are, because I think you're inspirational to a lot of people.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. It really is. Because, literally anything and everything I do is for those girls. Like, it's a fact. Like, it's not about me anymore, man. Like, I had 14 years of damn good traveling, good times, good life. But I just want to make sure they can live their dreams. So I'm going to keep swinging until I can't swing no more, though. So watch out. I might be Terry Funk out there. But But it's one of those things, man. It's going to be like, I'm just going to make sure they can live their dreams too.
I want to say a massive thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you today, because I know you're inundated with requests. So to actually give me your time, I'm really grateful. And here in the UK, we're grateful that we can hear from you.
Dude, I'm sorry I was late. Yeah, I am.
That's okay.
I looked at the clock. It was like 2:04, and I'm like, shit, kids going. But
No,
yeah, thank you for not giving up on me.
No, thank you for joining us on the show. It's been great talking to you, and we're all going to follow you, and hopefully we'll get to see you in the UK.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'll come as a Union Jack.
That's amazing.